This is Investment Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Daily live streaming interactive. Featuring Mrs. Backup. Subscribe, hit the notification, smash the likes. Now, here's Backup Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back, everybody, from the XRP community. This is Investment Perspectives. I'm Bradley Kimes. You can follow me on Twitter at Backup Bradley. I just wanted to make this video real quick because it's been quite a day here with Congress and the congressional hearings. Shout out to Aiden Traden, who broadcast this, and I collabed with him this morning on the end of my show, being able to show some of the hearing. He got it all. And believe me, there was some moments in here that you're going to want to be aware of, no doubt about it. This is a big deal. So we start with the notion that, let's set some context here. So we had the hearing today, is cash still king, basically, is what we're looking at here from Aiden's video. And we just finished the World Economic Forum. Okay, now that's important in context to this because so far that has been the process. There's been international guidelines that have been released, and then the U.S. will come out and back them, as well as other countries. We first saw last June the FATF came out with guidelines, and then immediately after that, Steve Mnuchin from the U.S. Treasury Department came out and endorsed those guidelines and said, yes, we will endorse those guidelines. Will be KYC, AML, CFT, and the travel rule, right? So now we just had the World Economic Forum where two big things stuck out that we're aware of at this point. One was that they had the Policymaker Toolkit, which inside of that, and I will show you as a highlight here really quickly, the Policymaker Toolkit, as you can see right there, that was given out as a PDF, shows right here, most relevant for wholesale CBDC use, crypto assets designed for inter or intra-bank payments and settlement. Examples, right here, JPM coin and XRP. No more dancing around it. There it is. That's what we're looking for, and that's what we got from the World Economic Forum. And that wasn't all. We also got from that, we got the announcement from the World Economic Forum that they were going to have a global consortium for digital currency governance. These are two enormous events that came out, or things that came out of that World Economic Forum. And again, in true fashion, now we have hearings in the United States. And what are they talking about? The payment system, cross-border settlement, payments domestically. They're talking about payments. How can we settle them? How can we update them? How can we protect people's privacy? How can we make it secure? How do we know it's secure? How do we track it? Let's take a listen to the first clip right here from Mr. Gonzalez, former Indianapolis Colt. Shout out to Mike Jansen.
You also mentioned, Mr. Ahmed, we have 50 seconds, AML BSA compliance. As we transition, or potentially, hopefully transition to more of a blockchain system, that's one concern that everybody raises. Can you just provide your perspective on that? Is that a tech challenge? Is that a regulatory challenge? How can we be comfortable in that world?
Listen.
I think, as we heard, there are technological solutions to be able to track, transactions even with cryptography, depending on the type of cryptography, and it's quite a prism and quite a range, depending on what the solution is that's being offered. And then there's a regulatory challenge of how do you actually go after the types of things that you're worried about, but ensure that legitimate transactions are getting through. So I think it's probably a little bit of both.
And there you go. So what he's talking about is how do you regulate the space and not only not inhibit innovation going forward, but how do you regulate the space and not actually bottleneck or clog up the system from legitimate payments? So these are the real questions that are being asked, but he's telling you there's tech out there that can be used to do it. and we're getting ready to hear him talk about it. Shout out to Rob Cash, who's got an article here that breaks down exactly what we're looking at from You Today. Shout out to Rob Cash and You Today for that article. Shout out to Bank XRP with this great comment from the last blockchain summit in DC in 2019, September, October, I believe it was. Brad Garlinghouse, CEO, pointed out that we've been asked as an industry not to speed, but we weren't given a speed limit. Well, things are moving pretty quickly now. I don't mind telling you. Shout out to Bank XRP. Let's listen to this next clip right here and listen to this.
Comment on that?
I would just note that, for the kind of core banking architecture, I think there would probably be some changes needed in terms of the Federal Reserve System. But for, smaller valuation or smaller amount payments, I think you already are seeing some blockchain-based systems being created that enable the movement of money. So I think there are examples out there. We talk about XRP or others that kind of offer this.
Mr. Klein, I'm for 40 years in and out of.
There you go. I want to hear it again. Let's let it go again. Thank you, Philip Deadline.
Comment on that?
I would just note that, for the kind of core banking architecture, I think there would probably be some.
Core banking architecture. What did we talk about? What's been the narrative since we've heard Glenn Hutchins talk about protocols and the value being in the protocols? What have we been saying on this channel? That regulatory clarity isn't just a set of rules. They have to adopt a virtual framework to have something to be able to even police. You're not going to police 3,000 different networks. You're going to make all those networks and payments touch a rail or two and monitor that rail or two of all those transactions. Let's keep it going.
Some changes needed in terms of the Federal Reserve System. But for, smaller valuation or smaller amount payments, I think you already are seeing some blockchain-based systems being created that enable the movement of money. So I think there are examples out there. We talk about XRP or others that kind of offer this.
Mr. Klein.
Come on in. No more beating around the bush, ladies and gentlemen. These, again, are the right people at the right levels carrying the torch for every one of us, because it's truthfully for all of them. We're just smart enough to be here. That's the truth. All right, let's keep it going. Here's a throwback to the old, from last year, Paris FinTech Forum, where the back and forth went on with Librant, the CEO of Swift at the time, talking about the startup R3, working with them, and we know that GPI from Swift will connect into R3 for settlement, and they can obviously through the Corda platform also have access to the Corda settler as an option for settlement, which uses the XRP asset for settlement, digital asset, right? So let's listen here to Mr. Emmer, who was on fire today talking about XRP. My, oh my, this guy wants to get innovation happening. I'm telling you right now.
You and I, we've heard of Bitcoin.
Here we go. Let's listen.
Is to fold them into payments law in a more rational way and to rationalize payments law overall.
All right. Well, and as defined by you or someone else, what is rational? I'm seriously, it's your definition of what's rational, because there's a whole environment out there of brilliant, genius young people who are coming up with new ways to transfer value every single day, and I worry that we're gonna crush that entrepreneurial spirit and that advancement. Obviously, you and I, we've heard of Bitcoin, we've heard of Ethereum. You familiar with XRP and the efforts of Ripple?
With the distributed ledger technology for their payments?
Yep.
Yes.
And
you love how he asked, are you familiar with XRP or Ripple? And she says, with the distributed ledger technology payments? No, the other Ripple and XRP without the DLT. You know what I mean? Of course. You know what I mean? It just seemed like a little brief stall. Like, it almost feels like, for me, if I'm reading too much into it, forgive me, but it almost feels like, oh, I didn't know we were talking about that out loud today, right?
you and I, we've heard of Bitcoin, we've heard of Ethereum. You familiar with XRP and the efforts of Ripple?
With the distributed ledger technology for their payments?
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're familiar with EOS?
No.
What about privacy coins like Monero or Zcash?
So
And then it cuts off. And I'll tell you something, again, the privacy issue comes up. It's not solved yet, right? They're still talking about, look, these privacy coins are going to have a problem unless they touch a ledger that will be able to track exactly who or what is being sent. You better know that going forward right now. And let's see. Okay, these are clips that are shorter clips of the same thing. Let's see. Shout out to Cryptopolis 4 hours ago. This is a great post here. Rather than cryptocurrencies themselves, it is the underlying blockchain technology which looks set to have a greater impact. Ripple, which created a popular cryptocurrency, Ether operates as a cross-border payment service based on distributed ledger technology, and most recently entered into a high-profile partnership with international remittance firm MoneyGram, which you know. So there is just more strides taking place on and on all the time. Let me see if I have one more clip here, and I thought that I did. And no, I think that is it right there. Okay. So yeah, that's all of it for there. So let me go back to full screen here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a process, right? This is a process, and we're starting to see the pattern to the process. Make no mistake about it. It's international first, domestic second. That's what we're seeing here. And believe me, the reason it's international, because all of the largest players with the largest economies, the largest wealth creators, the largest market creators, right? They're all at these international conferences, consortiums, governance panels. They're all at these events. They craft these things over years together, and they are just now starting to unpack all of the hard work that they've made in this space. This is one of the most remarkable times to be alive, and there's not a lot of us out here that actually know what's actually taking place here. That's right. There really was congressional hearings today where they were talking specifically about cryptocurrencies and digital assets, and Ripple and XRP were being specifically named as a solution for those problems. That's it for me, guys. Hit the like and subscribe below. Let's keep this thing going. And don't forget, we will be on tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be one hell of a show. The energy now that is building is incredible. What is important to take away in the macro of all of this is we have been saying these things for years now. What's important now is that the right people in the high-level positions, in the government position and sectors, are now carrying the narrative for us. Hit that like and subscribe, leave a comment below, and I will catch you on the next one.